Artist and resilience.
I just finished both makeups. As you can see, I thought this was fun for the rest of the video.
Hi, hello. Yes, I am aware I look like a crazy person.
I actually made some new research about a new story that I found really funny, and it's a really short story. So it would be a fun thing to do, but it would have to be really quick, really easy to make, really on the spot, and just improvise with it. This new story that I read is a story that I'm sure I've heard it when I was little, but I just can't remember if it's one of those memories that you have because someone told you have. And this story is
The Fox and the Drum.
Or as it's originally known, The Jackal That Tried to Eat a Drum, or a War Drum. This is one of the stories that's part of the very famous Indian storybook, the Pancatantra. This book was created around 300 BC, which means before Christ. I couldn't find any information that tells us who wrote it or who compiled it. This is a very famous book, mostly in India, but it's known worldwide. It's the most famous book of animal folk tales. India was the first place to find interesting to use animals to convey and to teach morals and to teach moral lessons. This particular book and stories actually inspired a lot of European and Arabic stories, and they came to Europe around the Middle Ages. There's over 200 versions of this book, and they're translated into more than 50 languages. Just for you to have a notion of how global this is. This book in general intends to teach the art of government. Like most of these kinds of books with tales and fairy tales and fables, this book has a main story that unboxes the other ones. This main story consists of a character that we might call the narrator. I wouldn't dare to pronounce his name. He's a servant that's trying to teach his king's sons the principles of good government, and to do this he tells different stories, and all of them have as main characters, animals. This differs from the Puss in Boots because all of these stories are just animals that have human characteristics. There's no human involved whatsoever except in this main story that's going to inbox the other ones. This book consists of 5 books, and this story of the jackal that tried to eat the drum, or the war drum, is part of the first book. This first book concerns how to break up alliances and friendships in order to promote your own interests. The story of the jackal and the drum is part of another story that's part of the original story. And this other story is about a lion king that's going to get some water in one of his walks, and he hears a really weird sound, a really loud sound of a bull that's entering his kingdom, but he doesn't know it's a bull. So he goes to one of his sort of counselors, but one of those counselors that you just let them hang around, but they're so old. They don't really do anything, but they're not involved in the politics anymore. And one of those counselors tells the king this story about a fox or a jackal. In the original story it's a jackal, but I think they just made it a fox because it's easy to understand what a fox is. And this counselor, who's actually a jackal as well, tells the story of this other jackal that's extremely hungry and going through a battlefield. While walking through this battlefield looking for food, he hears this really loud sound, and he doesn't know what it is, but he thinks it's a bigger animal than him and it's gonna eat him. So instead of running away, he decides to investigate what the sound is, just to uncover that it's a drum that makes sound from a tree branch banging on it. He thinks because the sound is so loud, the drum is actually an animal, so he just jumps straight into the drum and finds out that the drum is actually
empty.
He thought he'd find a big meal, but instead he just ends up in the empty drum. In a lot of stories, the fox or the jackal rips the drum to find out food in it. Either food or like a really well-cooked dinner for some reason. I don't understand why. The moral of this original story is that only the brave succeed, which I think it's one of the morals that you might take from it. I think what it means for the bigger story of the Lion King and his counselors is that the Lion King shouldn't be afraid of just checking what the noise was, because sometimes a big noise is just a big noise. But I thought this could be a cool story to explore this week because it's really short. It's a really short story. There's not a lot of characters involved. It's just a jackal. I actually made some drawings already of what it might look like. I know I usually don't do drawings or anything. I just go with my instinct. But while I was reading, I thought, why not just make these drawings? So for this head, I decided to make it from chicken wire. This takes a long time. Obviously, this is sped up footage, so you don't see how long I actually spent on doing this. Here I am trying to put it on my head, fit it, seeing if it works or not. There's a lot of twisting and turning just to see how the shape is gonna behave. And now what I'm doing is I'm softening some cardboard by crumpling it and then hot gluing it to the wire structure. I'm just making sure that everything is glued on correctly. Again, this was a really long process, but it's sped up. I spent a whole afternoon making this head with the wire and the cardboard. At some point, it's not gluing to the wire anymore, it's gluing on the other cardboards. I thought cardboard was the best option because it's not too heavy. Since it's a headpiece, you don't want it to be too heavy. And now I'm painting it white as just a base color so I can paint over it. Because painting cardboard is really hard with bright colors, so you need to have a base color so you can build on from that. I just finished making the jackal's head. It doesn't really look like a dog or a jackal or a fox, but it looks like something from that side of the family, I guess. I don't know. It looks like a mouse, kind of. I was thinking of painting it pink. Different shades of pink. Add some details, but it's mostly going to be a painting job, I think. I don't want to make eyes. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't really make eyes. I just make things that look like they have eyes, but they don't really. It looks like a zebra now. Now I'm painting everything pink, like I said, different kinds of pink. I decided to make stripes out of it, just to give it a different texture from everything I've done before. I use the same brush to do everything, so I have regular stripes of color. I try to hide as much of the white as possible. Now I'm making some teeth from wooden knives that I found lying around, so I just used them. I painted them yellow because I thought that could be a good color for teeth. It would stand out in the pink. And what I did was I got the handle in each knife and then I stuck it in the structure, in the head structure. This is the drum that's going to support the head, and because I couldn't get it to stick on my head without falling off, I glued this piece of fabric to the bottom of it, and now I'm going to put a scissor through it and put it on my head. It needs to be bigger than this. And now it shouldn't fall off, hopefully. Okay, now I'm painting the drum. I decided to paint it green because I think it's a good color next to pink tones. It's a really simple drum. with just some stripes. There's two different greens, and then I add some yellow in the end of it just to make it a bit more fun. Today was finally the last day of my residency. Today was all about just finishing the head that I showed you before, and this is how it looks now. I put some eyes on it. You can see the little teeth on the side of it, the yellow teeth with the knives, and I glued the head to the drum so it doesn't fall off, and it's just one single piece now. I would love to have time to work on the drum pieces that stick out of it, but like I said, it is my last day. It's my final hours here, and I don't want to cheat and go over the time that I gave myself for the residency, because I really wanted to know what I could do in a month. I hope you enjoyed being taken in this journey with me. I know I really enjoyed making these vlogs and hearing your opinions about my work and ideas that I could try, and just the support I got from this was amazing. So thank you all for being there. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel, watching these vlogs, liking them, sharing them. I'm really glad I did this. I did something at least during quarantine, during this time in lockdown, which was really good. And now I'm saying goodbye. It was great. I had a great time doing this. I produced as much as I could produce, and I'm happy with it. There's a lot of things I could improve on. I'm aware of that, and I will. But right now, like I said on the last video, I need a break. I will be posting a separate video reflecting about the residency and what it meant to me and what I might want to develop further after the residency is done. But you'll have to wait for that. I will be trying to post new videos every Monday, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it, comment on it, saying anything you'd like to see on the channel. And for the last time, I think that's gonna be it for this week. Be happy, keep creating, and keep your hopes up, because you never know when things might happen. Bye guys.